Looks like I'm going to have to just use pictures for this review because the footage was caught by Warner Brothers even if it's flipped, so sorry about that, I'm just going to be using pictures. Warner Brothers just released their second non-LEGO movie by their movie animation division called Warner Animation Group. The last non-LEGO movie they released was Storks. I went to go see it, but never bothered reviewing it. It's an alright movie, but it didn't really have me expecting anything above average being produced by the studio that wasn't associated with LEGO. It makes sense though, because the two types of films are actually made by different animation services hired under Warner. The LEGO movies are done by Animal Logic, and the others like Storks and Smallfoot are done by Sony Imageworks. Wait, that's the same company that makes films for Sony Pictures Animation. Which, now that I think about it, that's why the designs of the humans look so similar to the ones in Hotel Transylvania. Anyway, regarding the new film, Smallfoot is a film I wasn't expecting to like as much as I did. I went in expecting basically nothing and got something that I rarely see in animated movies. There are minor problems though, and I will get to those after the good parts, and that starts with the premise and the surprising setup. So Smallfoot starts out in a Yeti village on top of a mountain in the Himalayas. They believe that their world is just the mountaintop floating on the clouds, supported by mammoths, and everything below the clouds is a great nothing. All of the Yetis believe this because of these stone tablets that say what's true. The main character, Migo, is content with his life and his role in the village, and is excited to take up the mantle of Gong Ringer, which wakes up the great snail in the sky to carry the sun across the sky. That is, until his beliefs are challenged when he finds himself outside the village and a plane with a human in it crashes on the mountain. Yetis call humans Smallfoots, and there's a sort of conspiracy club in the village that believes they're real and have been gathering evidence for its existence. The movie builds on this conflict between belief and finding out evidence about what is true or not. And it's not something I see in a lot of animated movies or shows, and if I do see it, more often than not, it's pulled off pretty poorly. But this movie actually managed to make it work. At first, it seems like there's a clear antagonist, but as the movie goes on, you start to realize there really isn't. And it's really all about what people fear about challenging their own beliefs and prejudices, and it's not done in a really cynical way. No one is made out to be the bad guy in the end. This movie is a musical, so there's a fair amount of songs. Not all of them are that great, but there's one called Wonderful Life talking about curiosity and the beauty of life and nature. It's like a song about science with how it mentions questions and seeking truth. It really hit me when watching this movie, especially the line, "All we are is curious, there's nothing wrong with that," and I just was not expecting something like that. It brought me back to when I was a young teenager and started questioning things, and some of my elders didn't like that. Growing up in the South where a lot of people still believe in creationism, being a kid that was into paleontology and evolution and everything, it struck me as odd that some people didn't want me to learn about it. Even some of my teachers in school reluctantly taught evolution. So yeah, I'm really glad that a moral about curiosity made it into an animated movie. Alright, so enough gushing about the moral of the film. Let's talk a little bit about the characters. So, the Yetis have some pretty unique designs. The way the hair on some of them move looks pretty satisfying. And the humans, like I mentioned before, look a lot like the ones from Hotel Transylvania. Mainly it's the eyes. The main human named Percy is a British wildlife TV show host, and I thought that was pretty fitting to have interact with the Yetis, rather than just some random guy that fell out of a plane. I was actually really afraid that that's how the movie was going to start, but thankfully it didn't. There's a bit of a dynamic that goes on with the main Yeti, Migo, and Percy, where they are talking to one another but they can't understand each other because the languages they speak are so different. Like, the human language sounds like gibberish to the Yetis, and the Yetis' language sounds like growling and roaring to humans. A lot of humor in the film comes from that, but then there's also a lot of it that comes from slapstick comedy, which isn't exactly my cup of tea. But the kids in my theater laughed really hard at that, but not at any of the jokes that involve dialogue. The animation seems like it's a step up from Storks, but it's hard to tell. That's really all I have to say about that. All of the music besides the song Wonderful Life just sounds okay. There's an Under Pressure parody that feels really awkward sung by Percy. There's also an expository rap at one point, which is just okay in my opinion. That's really all I can think of concerning any problems I had with the movie. So yeah, Smallfoot is a film about Yetis that I had no expectations for, but ended up really liking the message behind it. If you were curious about it, go watch it and see for yourself. By the way, next year there's going to be a film from Laika called Missing Link about Sasquatch. And also next year there's a movie from DreamWorks called Abominable about Yetis. There was also this weird movie last year called Son of Bigfoot, What's with all the movies about Sasquatch creatures lately? Anyway, if you have seen Smallfoot, let me know down in the comments, and I'll see you next time. Bye!
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Well, by now we're getting a bit used to winter. We're like soldiers in the middle of a campaign, growing hardened to discomfort and better able to